and good afternoon. Jennifer Catrulia excited to jump into FOA Live today. On these FOA Live webcasts, we talk about the crucial topics brought to us by our family offices and our wealth creators. I am co-president and super excited to be on today with Rush Olney.
Hello, everybody, and thank you all for showing up last week to our first FOA Live event. Again, Rush Olney, as Jennifer had stated, head of operations in our expanding FOA global community. Today, we have the privilege of being joined by Miles Spencer. He's a longtime FOA member and on the FOA board of advisors. I will pass it off to Jennifer for the intro, and I'm excited to have Miles on FOA Live and everybody else.
So thank you again, everyone. And so Miles, as you'll hear shortly, if you don't already know him, Miles is a force of business, hobbies, interests, and so a super fun day today with him on the show. And so Miles has actually been a mentor for tech founders for over 30 years. And he is a father to two for over 11 years. And Miles often remarks that the similarities between the two are very, very much the same. So he'll share more of his thoughts about that. Miles has, over the last 10 years, created more than 1,100 jobs as he's been the founder, builder, and he's exited a series of digital companies. He also is now jumping into and has jumped into his latest investment, his latest management effort, and he'll share more of that with us today as well. So really excited. We'll bring Miles on and get rolling.
Just a quick note, this show's meant to be interactive. So if would all guests feel free to reach out, private chat, comments. If we have time, we'll weave your questions and comments into the chat and into the discussion. And if not, we're happy to follow up post to get any questions answered that you may have.
And Miles, thank you and welcome to the show today.
Thanks, Jennifer, for that wonderful introduction. Rush, for all that you both do for FOA. As you mentioned, I've been a FOA member for over a decade. I don't know if that's I get a pin or a collar or something for that, but even my role within FOA has evolved from listener and learner to also now a mentor for a couple of new members. And I just keep coming back, and that's the ultimate compliment that I can pay.
Thank you very, very much. And Miles will jump in. So Rush, now every show I do this, I say, we actually do plan this a little bit ahead, and I say, Rush, you jump in, and then I do it anyway. So Rush.
Just to touch on Miles, I've had the pleasure over the last roughly year to get to know you through several events. I think I had it handed to me on the pickleball court. So you are definitely a ferocious competitor. For those who don't know you or may not know you as well as Jennifer and I have come to know you, would you go through and just touch on your background, sort of the ventures that you have endeavored on and built, and kind of what you're doing now?
Sure. At the end of the day, I'm a simple guy from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, named after my grandfather, who had 24 kids, 3 wives. He had his last kid when he was 74. So from a longevity standpoint, I think I still got it going on. I had the opportunity to go to Choate and play football and baseball there. So really a great athletic experience. Played football and baseball in college as well. Started with an investment banking firm on Wall Street about 1,000 years ago. I mean, Gordon Gekko was actually a contemporary. It didn't take me very long to realize that wasn't what I wanted to do. Got to be a principal in a venture capital fund during .com. We did horrendous at raising money, so it was all our own money. We made a couple of investments, and most of them tanked. We created a television show, which you probably know about, which is Money Hunt. I ended up hosting it because nobody else would. It was kind of a great-grandfather of Shark Tank. And we did one good deal, and that was Register.com, the domain name registration business that went on to break Network Solutions monopoly. Deutsche Bank thought that was worth a couple of $1 billion, and our $500,000 investment was suddenly magic. So I made some other people very, very happy. I was a very small partner in that fund, but it gave me great experience. And in the aughts and teens, I started a charity called Kayak for a Cause with my now partner, Scott Carlin, former president of HBO, where we kayaked across Long Island Sound because someone dared us to do it. The first year it was the two of us. By the fifth year, it was 450 of us kayaking. And so I had 450 kayaks, 7 miles offshore in open water, and 750 volunteers to manage it. Actually, I didn't have any P&L responsibility, but it gave me an opportunity to really learn about leadership and motivation. So I couldn't give anybody a raise. I couldn't fire them, yet all the kayaks had to be on the beach on the other side of Long Island Sound at 5 o'clock in the morning, or the whole thing wasn't going to happen. Wonderful 10-year run with a wonderful group of individuals, and raised 7 figures basically each year for local charities. But towards the end of that run, it was about 2010, I started founding and financing and growing digital media businesses, which has been my passion for the last dozen years. As Jennifer mentioned, out of nowhere created 1,100 jobs, 3 exits, total a little less than $500 million amongst those 3. And they were all funded by families and a little bit of individual angel money. And it was a wonderful experience, not just financially, but also from a leadership standpoint. I really enjoyed working with the people. Along that way, I also had a couple of kids, as Jennifer mentioned. Got a 12-year-old rugby player and 10-year-old actress that both think they're 16. And by some, I'm regarded as a very technologically savvy person of my vintage. By them, I'm a joke. So that is me up to now.
That sounds right. I think probably a lot of people can relate to that. And so, Miles, I know you get calls all the time from aspiring entrepreneurs who have the next great idea, looking for pitches and mentoring and all of those things. And so, in your experience as an entrepreneur, as an investor, there are you have to think about the key qualities in people beyond their ideas that seem to signal success for an endeavor. What do you look for? Kind of how do you figure out what's going to be a next win?
Great question. A couple of quickies. During COVID, I went back and I looked at the prior 5 years of deals that I'd seen. I had a lot of extra time on my hands, and I had seen 5,000 deals. I actually sifted through them, met with like 150 of them, gave terms to about 15, and did maybe 13 deals during that time. And looking back, some consistencies. I love big problems that can be solved by a little twist of technology. Doesn't have to be first, definitely has to be better. I don't like teaching people how to do new things. I like to provide a tool that allows people to do what they're already doing a little bit better, a little bit faster. When it comes to the individuals, it takes all kinds, right? I mean, essentially right now, Scott and I are entrepreneurs and we're in our 6th decade, right? Most of the entrepreneurs that I work with are 28 to 34, somewhere in there. You definitely see the world in a different way. I love entrepreneurs that have really good ears and can listen to their customers, can listen to the marketplace, take what's valuable to them, but not get depressed by every criticism that they get, and use something from every conversation to make their product or make their organization better. And the last qualifier, if I saw 2 resumes or 2 proposals that were exactly the same, and one worked in a restaurant, I'd take that one. What I learned as a dishwasher, eventually a cook and a chef, and now in front of the restaurant, was the qualities of someone that works in a restaurant, whether that's pressure, deliver, on time, product, front of the house, back of the house, supply chain. It's a wonderful experience. And when I see that on a resume, I always ask a little bit more about it.
Well, that leads into the next question. Well, you've worn many hats. Um, how do you think that has shaped kind of your views, what you look for, and how you approach problems?
Yeah, well, I think if you looked at my hats, they're almost scatological, whether that's, I love adventure, I love art, I love technology, I love solving problems. I think that the common thread is a common touch. Early days before technology really sort of existed, like we're talking about right now, I did a lot of consumer products deals. Pens and pencil that were easier to handle, cheese that was low fat, domain name registration that was do it yourself. So I've always had a consumer touch. Maybe that's B2B, B2B, B2C, B2C. There was always a consumer, small business in that equation. Seems to be where I like to land. If I can understand it, if I can relate to the problem, right now I'm a god in my house at picking movies because I've been working on this app that basically allows me to, whether it's my young kids, older kids, girlfriend, etc. I've got 3 movies teed up on the screen before they've even said, "What are we going to watch tonight?" And I bat like 990 in terms of getting one pick out of the 3. The average is 450 scrolls in 22 minutes in the rest of the world. So I love the fact, once again, it's a product like, I get it. I can use this. I see why it makes a difference. I think that's the common thread in pretty much everything I've done in 30 years.
Oh, and I love that. And so, Miles, I know that you have obviously deep expertise in digital media, and you talk a lot offline and in your presentations about family and connecting them, where right now digital media kind of has everybody so dispersed, and so many other things just have attention so fragmented. So is there a key that you feel you could share in terms of people trying to bring families together right now with all of the craziness?
Yeah, technology is a tool, guys. That's my belief. And so, well, yes, you can hide in your iPhone and you scroll TikTok and you can doom scroll Insta at 2 o'clock in the morning, and you're certainly removed from whoever's at the table. But I really look for opportunities to get my family, as I define it, together. We spend time in the south of France in the summer, and surprise, lots of family and friends love to come there to visit. We are certainly headed to F1 under FOA's umbrella, and we'll include family in that. We take a combined family vacation in the winter every year. This year we're going to Rome, and it's 7 or 8 of us, right? So it's an Airbnb experience. We believe deeply in cooking, because we all do, sitting around the table and talking about the day. And now the third one is the movies, right? You get another bite at the apple to have 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 all agree on a movie. That's unheard of. So I use technology to support those face-to-face interactions, which I think are so very important, not really take away from it. And that could be a regular update by Zoom with some of the other family members. WhatsApp essentially does the same. There's a bunch of different platforms you can get on video, and you kind of get a little bit of a feel for how they're doing, what the background looks like, what's going on. But it does not replace the face-to-face, and it's never replaced Gardenia's home cooking. So you can't replicate that on Zoom or on WhatsApp or anything else. So using it as a tool to get us together for meaningful adventures and learning about history and our roots and passions like art or sport. It's a tool. It's a tool. Think of it that way. And what I do say, and remember, as you said, the similarities are amazing between the entrepreneurs and the kids, right? So I often ask when the phone comes up, right? What are you using this for? Tell me when you take it out of your pocket. Do you want to call somebody? Are you bored and you want to scroll? Are you looking for information? Do you want to check your calendar for what's coming up next? Tell me before you look at the screen what you're using that tool for. And interestingly enough, for entrepreneurs, that's super important from a technology standpoint as well. Because I think a lot of entrepreneurs add technology because they think they should. What's the tool and why are you using it?
Yeah, I really like that thought. I'm going to use it on my son. I have a 12-year-old son as well. So, but it's sort of a purpose-driven action, and so the thought before you're just going to jump in and sort of get sucked into one of these, vortexes. On that note, on your website, along with all the ventures and business endeavors, you also mentioned philanthropic endeavors.
Yep.
What is something kind of near and dear to your heart right now? You went through the kayak endeavor or exercise. Is that still sort of front tip of the spear, or you have other things?
I got to be candid. I did a lifetime of charitable work in 10 years. I was managing, 1,000 volunteers. It was a gigantic event that basically Scott and I were doing ourselves. We had no staff aside from, the one day volunteer staff. Look, we supported Cancer Care. We supported Hole in the Wall Gang. We supported Save the Sound. We supported the Maritime Aquarium. We rotated charities in each year. There were 6 and one switched out. We did a lot of good work for a lot of folks, both locally, environmentally, and leadership was the third criteria. I think for the moment I'm done. From a charitable standpoint, if there was a phenomenal thing that came along, I'd look at my time. Remember, I ran that organization before I had kids and before I built and sold 3 companies. So it's really an opportunity cost, time allocation question. I don't have much.
Well, Miles, I know you are always very generous with your time and your mentoring. And you asked on a recent call, we're launching a group for our next gens within FOA, and you were the first to say, hey, is a component of that going to be mentoring? So it sounds like you're very modest in that. It's in your day-to-day world, at least that we've been exposed to. You're still looking for ways to give back and to contribute. So I know we've been on the receiving end of that. Thank you. I do also know, as I checked the time, we flipped the call today because I know you have an exit for an important, again, you're always on the run. So in a couple of minutes, we're going to say goodbye to you. And we flipped the housekeeping portion of FOA to the end of the call. So we'll jump in on that. But any closing thoughts or that you want to share again with the entrepreneurs that you could be mentoring or have mentored, and those who are trying to make the climb?
Yeah, I mean, I think there are always problems to be solved out there with a little twist of technology. So I love those real world problems that are well thought out, well identified, painful to the people that are experiencing them, and improved by technology. That generally gets my attention, even though I have limited amounts of it.
Well, Miles, Rush will close it out because again, I would otherwise do it and just jump in on him, and then we'll so Rush.
That's no problem jumping in. So Miles, as always, it's been a pleasure. Appreciate you taking the time and jumping on with us and sharing some about yourself, your ventures, businesses, thoughts, ideas, passions, and just life in general. I look forward to seeing you for Polo and the Connecticut event. And then I'm excited that you're going to be at F1 with us as well in Austin.
Looking forward to it all. Thanks for all you guys do. Really do appreciate it. I just keep coming back.
Well, we appreciate you very much. Thanks, Miles. Have a great afternoon, and we'll catch up with you soon.
Thanks, guys.
Take care.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right. So thank you again so much to Miles. And if you have a chance, whether it's to join us for pickleball at an event or at the upcoming retreat or anything else where you get to spend some time with Miles, again, he's super modest on this call, but he's always incredibly generous about being a supporter and sharing his ideas. He ventured out to the summit we had in Kansas City in May. And again, that's where I'm not sure how that whole pickleball score wound up when he and Rush played. But again, Miles is always kind of front and center in terms of helping people out. And I didn't even wear today, Rush, the sunglasses that I acquired from Miles at that recent event. So, but he also is a fashion, he and Gardenia, who you mentioned, are fashion consultants in their spare time. So we look forward to sharing more of that with them as well. In terms of housekeeping, Rush, if you want to just run through the couple of F1 events that we're attending, and I mention that because if you are part of FOA or interested in attending those with us, I want to make sure we have those on people's mind.
Okay. So we have two US-based F1 events, Austin and Vegas. And then we have, I'm lucky enough to be going over to the Singapore F1 event. So if anybody has contacts or wants to join me, feel free. You can follow up with me via email, and I'll be happy to get you dates and times that I'll be there, and any functions or anything that FOA or myself will be doing at each one of those three events.
Great, Rush. Thank you very much. And also for those of you who the website and registrations were flooded last week for rooming for the FOA retreat, September 11th to 13th, and Polo, which is September 10th, 17th, and 24th. So for the 10th, we will be sharing out a limited number of additional cabana spots to join us on the 10th. And we have actually worked out for people traveling in who want to do polo and then migrate to the retreat. We have an executive coach that'll come up out of New York on Tuesday morning for those, again, who want to make the day trip. A lot of things happening. So keep an eye on the website, our newsletter, and we'll keep everybody posted on what's happening. As far as other updates, Rush, if you don't mind just talking a little bit about at least a few of the interest areas we have rolling out for members.
So we have a handful. The one that is front and center right now that Jennifer and I are working on is the EB5 interest area or international. EB5 will be a component of international. We are building, I would say, a community within FOA, but that'll be part of FOA that are going to specifically be EB5 investors who are immigrating to the US. So we think this is a great community. We think several of the investors coming over will be a great fit. And as all of us probably know, when you land or find yourself in a new setting, it's always nice to have people that will kind of pitch in and talk to you and sort of help you climb the mountain. So we've had several conversations with individuals, have taken notes and are trying to be diligent with what our offering is, both for our current members, but also for the people coming in. So that's not to take up too much time with that, but
that's great. And Rush, a few others on the list that we'll be, again, sharing more information about will be helping people connect who are interested in impact investing and in real estate, specifically alternative investments. We have an entertainer athlete group that's coming together very nicely. We have a number of areas. Again, we'll be launching that out on the website and social media over the next couple of weeks. And that's the goal of that is within the membership as a whole to help people who have the common interest really get connected directly. So want to thank very, very much Miles Spencer again for his time today. I can say that we have new membership options rolling out. We have new resource council options. And the biggest thing has been, Rush and I have now been part of the FOA efforts since last October-ish. And, such a privilege to come into a community like this where there are so many people who have had so many ties to it for so many years, and the excitement of the new people that we're getting to meet along the way. I really appreciate the shared experiences, the opportunities. We talk to people who are wanting support as they continue to build out their family offices, and people who honestly didn't know that there was an opportunity like this to connect with other people to kind of help them on their journey. Rush, I know we were recently in Montauk for a week with some family offices and also with some individuals. We were on a catamaran ride, which was a lot of fun with a number of people, but just the conversations we had. We met people from so many geographies who came in for the week. And so I think as we, kind of embark on these across the country, what are you thinking in terms of one of the top 2 issues or so that we're hearing from families? I can throw a couple out, but I know you're hearing them as well.
I think I'll throw one out and then let you throw another one out. I think some of the issues that have come up are families looking to deploy capital, and the state that the group's looking to bring capital in for the investment are just not as polished or as investable as they may think they are. So that's one of the things that's come up. Is it seems like there are people families wanting to make investments, but the products that are being put in front of them really just aren't polished or ready for investment.
We see that a lot, and I think the add-on to that is a lot of families will say, hey, I really invested in X thing, and now I want to encourage other people to invest. And we get asked to we don't deal make through FOA, just to put that out there for everybody. But we're often asked to look at things other people have invested in. You step back and say, oh, it's clear you were very passionate about this, but before anybody else is coming in, definitely needs a lot of cleanup. So that's something that in terms of thought leadership, we love including in the FOA events and also attending when we hear others really talking about best practices and resources available to up and coming companies. And so for that reason, we have an innovation center launching where our members will share some of the things that they've been involved in, and companies that they think are really doing cool things. So that's going to come out soon. But we also want to do a much better job of helping family members, family offices who may have made their money and success in one area, but now want to jump in and invest in other things. How to, think about the due diligence process, how to maybe avoid some mistakes. And so that's a lot of sharing across the families, and we'll be bringing a lot more of that as well. I think sorry, go ahead, Rush.
Well, I was going to say that's one of the things I would want to bring up is on the focus groups that we'll be putting in place and seeding and running. Is we really look and would love for community members with those expertise to also come in and contribute and be a resource for people that may have never made an investment in a technology company or have never made an investment in Web3 or a pharmaceutical company, whatever it may be. Members of our community have made investments in most every modality and vertical of business. And so those groups, it would be great to have them sort of jump in where they are an expert and take a role as leader, or at least putting good information out there for the community that we can then share, and everybody can sort of come up together and learn from peers and from other members of the FOA community.
So thank you, Rush. I'm excited that you'll all see that we have a lot of that in progress, a lot of things to share. So again, in the weeks ahead, look forward to your feedback, your participation. Thank you for taking the time to join us today. And Rush and I will see you next week. Have a great week, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.